The underdogs prevail, and now let's talk about the road ahead with Zach Tawatari, Luis Ortiz. Pinch hitting tonight for Seth Payne. It's Brandon Scott from SportsRadio 610. You got your hitting shoes on?
Oh, man, hitting shoes, got my Nike Dunks on. Seth could never.
Yeah. All right, I think we all should have an easy time tonight filling out that satisfaction survey. So, Brandon, you start us off. How satisfied were you?
Jason, I got to be honest with you. It's hard not to be very satisfied with this win. Like, you got to think about it. We're talking about the underdogs. We're talking about a team that nobody believed in. We're talking about a team that Rex Ryan said was a bye week for the Chargers. They go in there as 3-point underdogs at home, take care of business. It is a drubbing. I don't know how you can be anything other than very satisfied considering that they were not expected to win this game.
Brandon, I'm going to disagree with you. I can't say that I'm very satisfied. I'm actually going to say I'm neutral. And why? Because the Texans caught 2 big breaks. Remember, that Darwin James interception, it got called back. The Dalton Schultz fumble, it got called back. When you go talk about it, you're possibly facing, well, they're going to be facing now the Kansas City Chiefs. They're not going to give up only 6 points in the first half. Kansas City will run it up on you if you don't score. The Texans cannot have a slow start like that from this round forward. So the Texans, for me, they didn't really do enough.
All right, Luis. I think I'm kind of somewhere in the middle of you guys. I'm going to go with just satisfied. Why do I say that? They did come back. They didn't end up giving the game away. Instead, they took it away from the Chargers, and I think they got something more important than a win back. I think the Texans got their swagger back.
I'm very satisfied. It is so hard to win in the NFL, and you were the underdog, and I thought that we saw 17 weeks of Texans football all in one game. The ups, the downs, it was all there. But in the end, the Texans have a win, and they also have an apology from Rex Ryan. And now we ask, did Saturday's performance, at least offensively, provide hope? Did it breed more confidence?
It's hard to say that it breeds more confidence when you've got such a larger sample size. We were talking about this earlier, man. There's just so many more examples of them not rising to the occasion. I think it's more so just not knowing which Texans team is going to show up week in and week out. I think the hope and the confidence is more than the performance that we just saw. It's more so in just the flat-out talent is on this team. CJ Stroud's really good at football. The Nico Collins, Joe Mixon. They've got the players to get it done. But it's hard to have the confidence when they haven't done it on a consistent enough basis.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to double down on that. It's really hard to have the confidence because it's just very inconsistent throughout the whole season, right? But I think there's a little bit of hope, a little bit of confidence, right? Because they did show that they can turn it around. Zach talked about it earlier. They didn't give up this game. They went ahead and took it, right? So I think they have to plan better. They cannot have a slow start against Kansas City because now the Chiefs have a game plan. They know that they can stop. If they can eliminate Nico Collins, you pretty much get rid of the whole Texans offense.
Yeah, it all comes down to execution, really. I mean, when the Texans execute, they've been better than average in my estimation.
Sure. I think we were talking about this earlier. You give CJ time and you give him space, he's probably going to make a play. But to Brandon's point, it's maybe not even week to week. It's like which team is going to show up half to half. So I don't know that there's anything that you can necessarily rely on other than that they can make explosive plays, which is really cool to see and fun to watch. But it's not fun when you see the other side of that as well, which is the inconsistency, the stalling out, the not scoring early. They need to get some points on the board this next week.
And then on the other side, you have a defense which was unreal. We've seen this team defensively hunt, as D'Amico likes to say, but is that sustainable over any amount of time?
Yeah, I think that the defensive performance is sustainable. It's all a matter of, can the offense make good on it? I spent a lot of time at this game on Saturday, Jason, just thinking, when is the offense going to reward the defense for what it's giving you? I'm talking about even to the beginning of the game when they're holding the Chargers down to field goals and drives where the Texans have kind of put them in a bad spot. The offense, has put them in a bad spot and the defense has bailed them out. I think what the defense is doing is sustainable. The question is, can the offense make good on its end?
Yeah, well, they say defense wins championships, right? Yes, the defense is going to show up, but you do need to score points in order to win games as well. So Derek Stingley talked about it after the game. He did say, look, it doesn't matter if the offense scores 0 points or 100 points. We got to show up and do our part. He says, but he did say we do want the offense to do their part as well, right? And they need to, because you can't depend on it. It's not sustainable. In my opinion, no, you can't continue to go out there game after game and just depend on the defense to bail you out every time. You can't, the defense gives you an opportunity and then you end up with a punt or just a field goal. The offense has to show up and they got to capitalize on their opportunities.
And this defense is also providing points. You cannot believe that's going to happen each and every week. And I think it's not just about the offense scoring points. Zach, sometimes this offense just needs to stay on the field. 3 and outs are the worst enemy for this defense because after a while, you're going to get tired.
Yes, that is exactly right. It really comes down to fatigue, I think, in my opinion. So in order to make it sustainable, in order to make these kind of performances sustainable for the defense, we know they're going to wreak havoc at some point in the game, but you can't have them staying out there for so much time because you're going 3 and out on every drive.
And then you have CJ completing that pass off the botched snap. D'Amico pointing out that was really the spark on Saturday. So now, I asked the group, does CJ officially have his mojo back?
Yeah, I honestly never thought that CJ lost his mojo. I thought he was just playing poorly, and we could call it out. We could call it what it was. But I never really thought that C.J. Stroud lost his mojo. And let's be honest, that play where, the one that we're talking about, there was also a fortuitous bounce where it was able to kind of land in his hands perfectly. And then he makes everything happen after that. Yeah. And so you give him the credit for that. But I always thought that C.J. Stroud had his mojo. It was a matter of, hey, is the offensive line in flux? Is the play calling as advantageous as you want it to be? Is it taking advantage of the weapons that they have around them? And it didn't always seem like they were doing that. To me, it seems like the offensive line, the play calling, and C.J. Stroud's play are all sort of harmonizing and going together.
Well, look, I may be wrong, but I don't think there's a one-ingredient recipe in the world, right?
Okay.
And I'm talking about, yes, like what you're saying to your point, Brandon. It's a combination of things, but I do think that it's like what they say in basketball, shooters got to shoot, right? Even if you miss 20 shots in a row, you got to keep shooting it. And once you see it go in, you get that mojo back. So maybe CJ never completely lost it, but I do think that play and after the game, that once you heard him say, I was having fun out there today, I think psychologically, just mentally, something did switch, and maybe he didn't recover his mojo back, but he did get a little extra hump, if you know what I mean.
I thought he gained a little bit of freedom after that play, kind of having to play a little bit of backyard football, right? It's almost like it kind of freed him up. And then on that next run, the quarterback keeper, he ends up keeping the ball and running for about 20 yards. He just seemed looser. He just seemed like he was, again, to your point, having fun like he talked about after the game. So it did seem like a switch kind of flipped with him.
Well, I don't know if he lost his mojo. I would agree with you, Brandon, but this certainly was a bit of a shot in the arm. Maybe just the vitamin Mo or the vitamin, Joe. But CJ appeared to be so much more relaxed. And obviously, when your line is protecting you, that's going to happen. Or you have just protection in general, which CJ has not had. So now we look ahead, and it's the Kansas City Chiefs. Next up, so soon. Is this a good thing or a bad thing?
I think it's a good thing. And it's weird to say because it's the Kansas City Chiefs. It's a 2-time defending Super Bowl champions. But Christmas is not that far behind us, right? Like the memory, the poor taste in the mouth of what Christmas Day was against the Baltimore Ravens, and really what the Ravens have been for the last 7 to 8 weeks or so, the way they've looked since, let's say, the beginning of the regular season. They've been the best team in football, in my opinion, by far. That's the team that you absolutely did not want to face. Now, if you want to get to a Super Bowl, if you want to win the Super Bowl, you're going to have to go through a litany of really good teams. So it's going to be hard to avoid great teams. But if you're talking about just wanting to win the divisional round, who would I rather see? The Kansas City Chiefs, who I just saw them play a lot closer in Arrowhead than I saw them play against the Ravens at home on Christmas Day. Give me the Chiefs.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think the Ravens have the Texans' number. They just have not been able to play well against them at all. And to your point, they had a pretty competitive game against the Chiefs, a few weeks ago. So I do think that the more tape and the more they see the Chiefs, the more that the Texans can maybe end up figuring out what is the kryptonite or what is the key in order to stop them. So I completely agree. I think this is the perfect opponent for them.
How about the bye week? I mean, the Chiefs have had some time off, and yes, rest is good, but sometimes you can lose momentum or guys aren't exactly as sharp as they need to be. So maybe that's also a plus, that the Texans are still playing. They've been playing, whereas the Chiefs had a bye.
I just look at it like this. It's going to be very hard for the Chiefs to make it back to a third straight Super Bowl.
History says that.
Exactly. And I think that this is the kind of ideal situation for a team like the Texans. Explosive, dangerous. That's the exact kind of team that Kansas City does not want to be able to face right now. A team that they can't really predict what they're going to do.
And that defense as well. Defense.
Yeah. This is the type of defense that you actually can say can get after Patrick Mahomes. They have the athletes to do so. And again, like we were just talking about, they had a competitive game out there. We've seen what it looks like. And I'd like to think that they're playing better now than they were even 3-4 weeks ago when they played the Chiefs.
Well, listen, Aziz, after the game, did say, hey, look, the way they made Justin Herbert look kind of similar to what they did to Jared Goff, if they can, by any means, Patrick Mahomes, make him turn the ball over just like they have done with these two guys, the Texans have a really good chance.
Well, let's be honest. It is about avoiding the Ravens, and you want you handle your business against the Chiefs, and you want the Bills to do your dirty work against the Ravens because they are a problem.
He is Brandon Scott from Sports Radio 610. Brandon, thank you for standing in for Seth, and we love it when you're here, and come back again soon.
Yeah, man, always fun. I'll get a cot over there.